All right, so today we're looking at a Jubilee video, basically the odd one out, basically 7 autistic people, but one of them is pretending to have autism. We're basically trying to find out which one it is. Like I said in previous videos, I have a brother who has autism, and so while I don't personally have autism, this is kind of like close to my heart because of my twin brother, and so it should be interesting.
I think we just talk about our disabilities.
I prefer disorder.
Disorder, yeah.
I know we ain't got too much into the video, but I like what he said about, let's say disorder instead of disability, because a lot of people often label many, neurodivergent people as well as, just anybody with a, quote unquote illness as disabled. But really, like with autism, it's more of just like you think differently. The way you look at the world, the way you look at things, the way you interpret information, the way you express yourselves is different, but that doesn't make you a different person, or you're like a person that's disabled. For example, some autistic people might be nonverbal. My brother is semi-verbal, where he can't perform full sentences, but basically he can do like short phrases or stuff, or like let you know what he wants.
Once I graduated middle school and went to that school, I kind of really enjoyed where I was at and everything. This is really hard because there's like so many eyes on me already.
They first suspected me of being autistic when I was 5, but they hesitated to diagnose me because I was too intelligent.
The most intelligent people I've met has autism. Like there was this dude, I believe he has Asperger's, which is, I believe, is a type of autism. Basically went through high school, literally like one of the smartest dudes, picked up on a lot of social cues, like picked on a lot of things. And even though he wasn't able to like socially integrate into our high school, he was a cool dude. A lot of people liked him because literally, like, this man was smart. He was acing all his tests. He was doing well. He was taking PSATs, SATs, and a lot of people, when they found out he has Asperger's, they were kind of shocked because they didn't expect him to be so intelligent. We need to get out the stigma where it's just like, if we think someone has a, and it's just like we as a country need to get out the headspace if someone has some type of, difference in them, whether it be neurological, whether it be physical, whether it be something, like we need to stop assuming they're not the best person in the room, or like they're not intelligent, or they can't compete or hang with the rest of us. Because at the end of the day, most of your intelligent people that throughout history has autism. Elon Musk, even though people don't like him, he has Asperger's. Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein basically won a Nobel Prize, and a lot of people think he might have autism. So literally, we didn't get out of our heads that, just because someone has autism doesn't mean they don't have a chance at life.
I was diagnosed at the age of 2. I don't see it as a disorder or a disability because I don't see my autism as something that's negatively affected my life, because like I like who I am, I like the way I think, and I don't want to change a single thing about myself.
Exactly.
Honestly,
I personally see autism as a disability. I have a master's in disability studies. The medical model of disability inherently says that autism or any other disability is within our own fault, and that we are the cause of the disability. But the social model of disability says that society is the cause of the disability. So autism is a disability because society is not made for me. That disability comes from without, not within.
Dang, she's speaking bars, Amanda. Because we as a society, we have a norm for like people who are able-bodied, who are not neurodivergent in a way. I don't know if that's correct, because I feel like everyone's a little bit neurodivergent. But I think we as a society, we don't have a space out for people who are different than like the norm. Autism is seen as a disability because we as a society don't want to make room for people with autism, just like we don't want to make room for people with handicaps, or people, like society is still having trouble making room for people of different races and different cultures, especially in America. So I definitely feel what she said, because, I feel like autism is only a disability, or considered a disability, because a lot of people don't want to open that up to society.
Know that people don't perceive me as this normal guy. So I figure if I'm going to be this autistic person, like might as well be the best autistic person that I can be. I always
Preach!
Yeah. I always try my best to excel in school.
I respect it.
I would consider myself a late bloomer. I was diagnosed at the age of 22. The reason why I only got diagnosed this year was because I recently moved to a large metropolitan area that has many resources, and so that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because I have access to therapy, and I was finally able to get an answer that I was always looking for.
That's true, because literally like these old rural towns, especially the one I live in or my hometown, basically we don't have many resources, and it's just like, and people already know you live in a conservative town, they're not progressive, they're not caught up on what the world is, and basically oftentimes they reject like progress, and especially in science too. And so definitely like metropolitan areas, urban areas have a lot more therapy researchers, because not only there, that's where all the wealth is now. It's shifting towards cities, but basically it's more of just like, you know, the environment. I think they have a lot more resources for people with autism. An example of this is that my brother, you know, we're struggling to find a, you know, after, you know, school program for him, because he was able to go to school till up to about age 22 when he officially graduated out of it. And it's been very difficult because his like special education teacher was amazing. Like, she knew how to deal with kids with autism, you know, other many different, you know, mental handicaps. We couldn't like keep him in school after that, so we're still struggling to find him like a long-term caretaker, some long-term activities, because it's just like so hard to find good people who know how to work with people with autism, especially in Texas.
So when I was in university, they make us do these psychological studies, because I was studying psychology, and they have different things you can apply for. And I noticed one of them was they were studying autism in women, specifically like people who are older. So I applied, and that was how I got my diagnosis, which was like, I was 21.
So it's definitely hard to speak in a group situation, because I can never tell the rules of like how to, like when to talk and when to speak up. It's kind of like just jumping in like right when you're kind of feeling like it. Plus, I've also blocked a lot of my childhood memories from trauma. And, so I lived my whole life just wondering why I couldn't connect to people.
Can I ask you guys a questions about like what are stimulants? Like, do you guys like chew gum, or do you guys like have anything that you guys do specifically to like keep you guys calm or keep you guys? Go ahead, Amanda.
The color pink.
The color pink.
Oh,
okay.
It's my favorite color in the whole world. My whole room is pink. At home, my bed is pink, my bedspread is pink, and my pillows are pink, and my rug is pink, and my carpet is pink. I even have a framed pink picture of mine, and most of my clothes are pink. I love pink. It's the best color in the whole world.
Okay.
That's like, I like that. My twins stimulant to keep him calm, he has like Legos. Like, there's been Legos like he had since he was like probably like 10 years old. Like, he'll build different makeshifts things in them. And like, people don't understand, like, you know, when you see them, they see this whole like big tower of things, like different blocks. It's no like, to us there's no coordination, but to him there's a lot of things like going on in there that he likes. And like, we always give him Legos for Christmas because that's something like the way he can express themselves. And whether it's just to tear them down, whether he likes to build sets and like complete them, or just like take the pieces out the boxes and build his own thing on his own accord. Another thing is, he's also very territorial, because he would not let anybody touch his stuff, like touch his Legos, his Lego pieces, his masterpieces, from an early age up until we were like 18, because that was just like his safe space.
How do you guys feel about the term high functioning?
I don't like that
I
term at
didn't
all.
think about it too much.
I don't think I think about it either.
Autism is too much of a spectrum. So many people with autism have so many different experiences.
Yeah, people always assume autism has like common symptoms and stuff, which they do, but there's always a saying that each person with autism functions on a different wavelength, and just because someone's not as social or as, you know, self-independent, you know, as another person, that doesn't mean like they're not considered high functioning. There's a lot of thoughts going through their mind. Like, there's nothing, you know, stopping their thoughts going through their mind. They just can't express it. But that doesn't mean like their body, their mind isn't high functioning, you know? And I think it's just very misleading to like quote high functioning autistic individuals with people who are able to like, you know, be independent.
Just because someone doesn't have autism doesn't mean that Mole could have like ADHD or OCD, and could be overlapping the symptoms that could be associated with autism as well.
My kid has a genetic condition that is not autism, but does manifest behaviorally and neurologically in many ways that are similar to autism.
Does autism run in any of your guys' family?
I realized I was autistic because my half brother, he's 5 years old. Well, I guess he's 7 now. whoops, I don't know his age. But like, I see him, I'm like, wasn't I like that when I was a kid? My mom was like, yeah, because we thought you're autistic too. I was like, what?
And I just found out that my youngest nephew was just recently diagnosed with autism as well. So, but luckily he had an uncle who already experienced everything that he going to experience, and I can I can be a mentor towards him.
I think honestly that the most unpopular conversation that people really want to have, autism has been around for us for a while. It's just we're getting more resources and more therapies to actually diagnose it more. Not only I list out many famous people that has autism are on the spectrum, but basically, you know, autism has been found in many of your family members. It's just that, you know, autism has been around for many years. It's been around for all of human history, and we're just now getting to the iceberg of it. I think that's a good thing because we're giving more reasons for people to start actually thinking about therapies, thinking about, you know, resources, and thinking about building a society towards people that are not neurotypical, in the sense that they don't have autism, they don't have any, you know, thing on the DSM-5, or any other quote-unquote ailment. You know, I think is building a more equitable society, and that's what we need to go towards.
Do you ever like wake up and feel like you're not autistic and like, or like you have a disability? You're like, this is just me. Like,
yes, it's called masking.
So masking, they brought up masking, suppressing certain behaviors we find soothing, but that other things are weird, such as stimming or intense entrance. So in terms of my brother, I've been guilty of like trying to mask his, you know, autistic or his tendencies, because like I said with the Lego example, you know, a 13-year-old playing with Lego, that's not really, you know, quote unquote the norm in America. And you know, me being a bright 13-year-old trying to fit in, I was just like, stop playing with Legos, you know, trying to get rid of them, trying to throw them away, like, you know, trying to get him to quote unquote grow up, you know. And really, like, it wasn't until I became educated in college to the point where I was just like, rather than that being a hindrance, that was actually helping him, soothe him, and, you know, being a stimulant and helping him, like, you know, manage his social, like, you know, isolation. I'll be the first one to admit it, like, I don't have it all together. Like, I'm still a regular person, I'm still a regular human being. Like, I get on here and make these videos, you know, get in debates, you know, talk about, you know, facts, figures, and all that data. But literally, I'm still learning too, just like many people are learning too, not only about autism, but the world around us. So don't for a second think I got it together, because I really don't. But the important thing I want y'all to take away from this is that we are in a world together where we need to learn how to engage with one another, learn about one another, and really just build an equitable world where we all thrive together, no matter if you have autism, no matter if you have any kind of illness, ailment, you know, handicap, you know, anything that makes you not seen as the typical American. You know, we all have a chance to thrive here.
People that don't have experience with others who have autism, they expect it to stand out, and that's not always the case. You know, I mean, we all look like humans.
I think you can blame that partly on, you know, the media, how they portray us.
We don't really have good representation.
No, we don't. What that movie with Dustin Hoffman, Rain Man, you know, where you know you being on the spectrum automatically mean you're good at gambling. I wish I was good at gambling or something.
I would say there's definitely misrepresentation in the media, especially when many shows try to paint autism as an illness, as like something bad that you want to have, when it's just like, for one, you can't get rid of it. It's a logical thing, and two, it still plays upon that, you know, stereotype that, oh, they're not normal, they're not gonna fit in normal society, this world's not built for them. When it's just like, how about we stop saying that the world's not built for them and actually start building a world for them, because they're here to stay. And like I said, you're going to have a lot more individuals being diagnosed with autism on different parts of the spectrum. One group hindering the progress, especially these anti-vaxxers group, because they're making it seem like, oh, autism is something being implanted by the government, or it's just like they're trying to shoot us up and don't really understand, like, oh, we're getting autism, you know, my child might get autism, which is not the worst thing your child can get, honestly, if it was coming from a vaccine. But like I said earlier, autism isn't a neurological, you know, thing. It's not coming from vaccines. You just can't get autism or infect other people with autism with a certain vaccine or a certain treatment or something. And at the end of the day, you're just pushing harmful narratives that, you know, individual autisms are seen as infectious, they're seen as bad, or, you know, they're seen as, you know, we need to like stamp this out. Another group of people that's really putting a hindrance on like how we move forward in the world is this group of people that's, you know, think it's a bad thing that, you know, we're trying to test individuals for autism or neurological disorders, or really just trying to, you know, make parents think like, oh, my kid got autism, but it's just like, it's a fake, it's a hoax. Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about this, like, about us black people building our own schools and stuff, because all the white men's like saying your kids got this, your kids got that, making you spend all this money, make you spend all this time and resources when your kids don't got anything. And to that, I find it very disheartening that a doctor with a DR behind his name is literally speaking this, hoax or misinformation, because for once, if schools didn't have the opportunity or the options to test individuals for autism, then they wouldn't take it, because they already got their resources drained in many other areas. So I'm actually glad they're testing individuals, because they're actually putting awareness to this, because like I said many times in this video, your kid, your mom, your parents, your teacher, peers, mentors, a lot of them probably do have autism. We need more resources and actual testing in place to make sure these individuals don't get lost or like feel like they are weird or they're not in a world where they don't get any support that they need.
On the count of 3, will the mole please raise their hand? 1, 2, 3.
Who could have seen that coming? I totally didn't see that coming.
I was shook.
I was like, no, it cannot be her. It can't be her.
I never would have guessed.
I actually didn't lie about anything. I just flipped out autism with FASD, and it stands for fetal alcohol spectrum disorder.
So if you don't know what fetal alcohol disorder is, basically right here, is basically, when people get exposed to alcohol before birth. So if you ever wonder why we tell women not to drink while they're pregnant, it's because they can lead to different developmental effects in their child while they're drinking.
I was exposed to alcohol when I was inside my mom in the womb for the first 5 months.
Damn.
And you can kind of think of FASD as a spectrum just like ASD.
Even though she might not have been autistic, there are a lot of overlaps between autism and many other neurological disabilities.
FASD is never talked about. I've never met a single person who shares that experience.
The autism community accepts you.
Beautiful Jubilee, beautiful Jubilee. I always think Jubilee is gonna be on some messed up stuff and might be making a jokes of certain issues, but I think they did this beautifully. I knew a little bit about FAS, fetal alcohol syndrome, during my time in high school as well as like in undergrad, but I didn't know it was an entire disorder by itself. This goes to show that we need more research, we need more resources, and we need more things going into, mental health disorders, disabilities, and handicaps, because it's a wide range of things. Some of it overlaps, some of it doesn't overlap, and it's just like, in order for us to build that society, like I've always been talking about throughout this video, we need to build more resources for individuals who have these, because they have just as much of a right to thrive in this society as, neurotypical individuals. But with that being said, that's been my video for today. This video is not uploaded on Sunday, it'll be uploaded on Saturday. I'm trying to figure out new things for the channel and really just trying to see what works best in the new year. If you want to see more of my content, there's some other videos right here, so definitely like, subscribe, post notifications, all that wonderful good stuff. Stay warm, stay frosty, depending on what part of the country you're in, and peace out.